Well, hello there. This is D, and welcome to episode 131 of the Benzo Free Podcast. It's been a while since I've been back on this podcast, but I am back. I think that's the first piece of news I wanted to share with you is that I'm back. We came back with an episode about 6 weeks ago that on just, restarting things and also catching up on things that had happened recently. But since then, I wanted to continue to work on improving my process for producing this podcast as I did with the new podcast, Uneven. And I took that process and came over and started to do it for this podcast. And that's what I've been doing. And I finally have finished that. So the good news is this is the new Benzo Free Podcast, meaning it's going to be shorter content, but also more frequent content. Those are the two primary goals. And some more individually focused, like there'll be a topic and I'll just jump on, record something on it, process it, and get it out. And I'm trying to get that method going with both these podcasts and just get more consistent content out to you all. And I'm excited about it. But let me catch you up on a few things first, and then I can talk about that and other things. I want just to share with you that things have been pretty good for me. For the most part. I'm still struggling a little bit. I had a setback, yes. I'm going to use the term setback. It's the term I want to use. I know I've had this conversation about that with somebody else a while ago, but I've been mulling this over for a while lately, and I know there's a lot of, in any community, there's always going to be politics and controversy and disagreements, and the Benzo community is no different. And I see that, and I hear what some of the stuff. I'm not on social media so much, even for my channels, but I know a lot of people in the community and work with a lot of them and understand the things that go back and forth. And I try to stay out of it for the most part and just do my thing. That's pretty much what I try to do. But I know one of the things I got criticism on a while back was on saying setback. And I don't want to be overly careful about the terminology I use. I'm sorry. I'm getting kind of tired of doing that in my life. And I just want to be honest with you all. When I say setback, it does not mean I went back to the beginning. It means I've taken a couple steps back in my recovery, and this is a roller coaster. That's the thing I want to make sure everybody understands. If you're in for the long haul of bind and benzo withdrawal, it's a roller coaster. There are definitely ups, but there also are some downs, and it takes a while. But in the long run, I've seen almost everybody make progress. Most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. But I think it's important to be honest, and that's the thing I'm not going to do. What I'm saying is I'm not going to be so concerned about not triggering or using the right terminology or always being positive that I'm not going to be honest with what I'm going through. Because if I start doing that, you're going to lose faith in me. You're going to lose trust in me. And that is not something I'm willing to do. He says as he's rolling up his sleeves because he's getting warm in here. Kind of like, you're taking on somebody, so you roll the sleeves up. And it's like, no, I'm just rolling my sleeves up. I'm talking like you can see me. I'm still audio only here. And I'm talking like you can see me, but you can. But what I'm trying to say is, symptom-wise, I've been struggling off and on. I had throat issues a while back. And all this started from like 18 months ago. I had a COVID, which I mentioned to you all before, which set off a new set of symptoms, a new wave, a setback, which is what I called it. I recently, a couple months ago, came back from Arizona with my wife, and we got another respiratory virus. It may have been COVID. I don't know. It had some of that, which would have been my fourth or fifth bout of COVID. I don't know if it was. And I've had more symptoms since then coming off of it again. And so I'm in that state again. And this is not uncommon for me. I get used to it. I adjust, but I also have bad days and I have difficult days. And yes, I am almost 10 years out from benzodiazepines. And I always want to make sure I mention to you that I am an extreme case. I made some mistakes along the way. some things that probably exacerbated my condition and have fed to my long condition. So I am that extreme situation. Please never use me as an example of where you think you'll be. And I always want to make sure I do say that. But I also want to make sure I am honest about what I'm going through and the difficulties I'm dealing with. I've been doing that a lot on the Uneven podcast that I'll talk about in a second. But I always want to make sure I do it here too, because this is where it all started. This is where it all started for me. But I just want to say I am so happy to be back on this podcast now that I've gotten that infrastructure put in place. You'll notice that our slates on YouTube and on the website and stuff look a little different. I've cleaned them up a little bit. I have a new intro that's much shorter, and disclaimer, which is shorter on the end. And so I'm trying to clean those up. And I've used a lot of the things I learned from kicking off this new podcast to use on the Benzo Free Podcast so that it too can become something I can put out there much more quickly and frequently. And now I have gotten my podcast production down to 2 to 3 hours, which is amazing since it used to take me 2 long days to do one episode of the Benzo Free Podcast. Not anymore. Not anymore. And I'm really glad that we are going to get more content out to you more frequently. So on that note, let me also tell you really quickly about where I've been. For those who haven't checked out, I don't want to urge you, but I encourage you to check out Uneven. Uneven is the new podcast here at Easing Anxiety. I kicked this off a couple months ago, and I had started recording this around the first of the year, first of 2024, and record several episodes and had them in the can, as they say, ready to go. I dumped a bunch of them out there in the first couple of weeks, and then I started producing some new ones, and we now have 45 episodes. Pardon me. A little tickle. I now have... Sorry. I didn't bring water down, did I? Of course. I'm not doing good today. This is the third time I've tried to record this. The first time the furnace kicked in right next to me because I was sitting here on the sofa in the basement, and that wasn't good, so I had to go turn that off, and I started all over again, and then I come down here again, and this time I didn't bring water. So we'll see if I can make it through here without water. If not, I'll pause this and go get some maybe. But about Uneven, I just want to encourage people to go check that out. Uneven Podcast is on our same channel, so it's on our YouTube channel, at Easing ANX. At Easing ANX is our YouTube channel. Go check that out. Uneven and Benzo Free Podcasts are both on that one channel. You also, of course, can find it on our website at easinganxiety.com. And both Uneven and Benzo Free Podcast are there too, along with all our videos we've done, and everything else that we've done is all still on there, on that site. And of course, it's also been picked up by most of the major podcast carriers. So it's out on Apple, Spotify, and everything else. So if you want to find out where to see that on those, just go to our website and pull up one episode, and you can see on there what you can listen to Apple and Spotify, and there's links directly to our channel on those. Is a quick way to get to that. So, but Uneven is life. What do I call it? Life, anxiety, and being human. It's just raw. It's me most of the time. Although I already have somebody scheduled this week to come on and start talking. It's about the average person who struggles with psychological difficulties in their life, primarily anxiety, but also other factors. And it's just about the guts of life, the crap of life, the fact that for some of us, life is a little uneven, off kilter, not normal, whatever. It's just uneven. And that's where that name came from. That for me, benzos were a big part of that. And I do refer to those briefly, but we don't talk benzos on this podcast. It's not what it's for. It's about anxiety and living and dealing with complications and living in the modern world and everything that goes with that. And so far, I've really enjoyed kicking this off. It's the most me anything's been so far. On the Benzo Free Podcast, I've been reserved at time about what I share, but on this one, I'm much more raw. I can use language if I want to. I've listed it as explicit, which means I can cover whatever topic I want to. It's unfiltered. It's just me. I hope you'll go check it out and give it a chance. I'll put a link here in the show notes to it if you just want to go down to the show notes of this episode and check it out. But I ask you to go check it out. Right now we have about I think 40 or 50, downloads plus the YouTube stuff each month. It's starting out very small, and that's okay because nobody knows about it. I'm just now getting it started, but I know we're going to grow that, and we're going to continue to grow this one. And in both of these, I'm putting all my energy behind. I've pulled back on a lot of my other responsibilities so I can focus on easing anxiety. And I'm really sorry for that. That's the chair I'm in, which creaks a little bit. So sorry for the creaking. But that's that. Okay, so check out Uneven. I'd love to have you do that. We got 45 episodes out there. Go pick one and see what you think. And let me know. And write in the comments. I love hearing from you. I still do. Write in the comments, especially either on our posts on our website or on YouTube. Just write in the comments and tell me you're here, what you think, good or bad. I don't care. I want to hear from you. As far as committing to podcasts going forward, both Benzo Free and Uneven, here is my goal, and I'm keeping it reasonable for right now. I don't want to overextend myself because with my health, I want to make sure I'm careful about that. But I am committing to one podcast episode every week, either Benzo Free or Uneven, and one of each every month. So every month there will be at least one Benzo Free podcast episode and one Uneven podcast episode. And every week there will be one of those podcast episodes. Now, I'm saying that is the absolute minimum. That's my commitment because I plan to do a lot more than that and get a lot more content out. I'm going to record whenever I feel like it. Now that this is expedited in my process, I can do it and get it out quicker with a little less mind-numbing complications that I dealt with the process I had before. But that's it. So, I mean, considering the fact that in the last, few months or whatever, I released 45 episodes of Uneven, you can tell I'm ready to get moving and get things out there. Okay, let's move on to a couple things I want to catch up with. Today, I'm keeping this short. I say keeping short. I always do that, and I wind up with an hour-long episode. But this one, no, I'm going to keep it under 30 minutes for sure. I'm going to stick to that. Okay, I just want to catch you up on a couple things that are going on in the community. And then I promise you within the next week or so, I'm going to have another episode out of Benzo Free, and we'll talk a different topic. And if you want to know, if you're curious about a certain topic or question, please, that's where the comments come in. Let me know what you want to hear, and that does feed what I cover, so I appreciate that. I wanted to catch you all up on Benzo peer training. Wait a minute, back up. And this is the other thing too. On Uneven, I'm going mostly unscripted and mostly raw. And with Benzo Free, you all taught me that was a style you appreciated, which is with my guffaws and failings and flaws. That's one thing with Uneven is I'm sharing the crap that is me, and I'm okay with it. And as I had done some of on Benzo Free too. So if I make a mistake, I'm just going to back up. I'm doing very little editing on these anymore. I'm keeping them mostly live and fresh. And so if you hear me making mistakes, please know that's just me trying to be more, well, me, I guess. This is the real me, and this is the me I want to put out there. So before I jump into Benzo peer training, I wanted just to mention and do the one question that I always want to try to fit in on the Benzo Free podcast, and that is, how are you doing? I feel like I kind of skipped over that part at the beginning of this, and I want to back up a second and just ask that because while I've been focused on Uneven and all the problems more anxiety related and health related there, I don't want anybody to think I ever forgot about the Benzo people. I'm still getting emails. I've gotten one recently from a gentleman who just broke my heart. Those stories still get to me just as much as they did the first time I read one. I thank you for those stories. I thank you for sending to you. I'm still not great at responding right now. I'm getting too many emails and just too much for me to manage as a single person here. Easing anxiety is just me right now. But I just need to make sure that everybody understands that I'm still as tied into that community, as active in that community. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second, and caring about what you're going through. I haven't abandoned you. I haven't left you. I just had to deal with my own self for a while. I had my own symptoms, my own downturns, my own depression. I lost a really good friend, as many of you heard in the last episode. I've lost a lot of other people in the last few years, and it's just a lot of things, and my symptoms, and just being frustrated and having some bad days. I needed some time away and needed to regroup, and I've done that. And now I'm really trying to build this momentum. I know I said that before, but I just want you to know I put an infrastructure in place now that really expedites what I do. I can get these out more regularly, and then we'll try to maybe build a community over at Easing Anxiety and do that kind of stuff as I have time to. But my focus is the podcasts. I love doing podcasts, and that's what got me started here, and that's what I want to keep doing. So I just want to tell you all, I'm still here. I feel for you and the crap you go through. I'm still going through some of it. And it still gets to me. So I just didn't want to suddenly move on past that and not close that out, because it's important to me. We'll talk more on that on future episodes, but I just wanted to catch that up. I want to give you a couple updates within the Benzo community. That's what I'm kind of focusing on, and also what's going on here at Easing Anxiety. I'm teaching some of these Benzo peer training courses. Now, these are the Benzo peer training. It's training for, Benzo peer support training, but they're open to everybody. Counselors, caregivers, lived experience people who have dealt with benzos, who want to learn more about helping others. Anybody wants to take it can take it. These are 12-hour training classes with 2 instructors. One of those instructors is always Benzo lived experience. I was project lead on this project over at Benzodiazepine Action Work Group. We got it running. We had an amazing team of people, Benzo leaders from all over the community, that all came together to create this. And many of them are still instructors, and we got them ramped up and are now teaching too. So we have this really extremely talented and knowledgeable group of instructors. And we've also teamed up with Choices Training and Ginger Ross there and her team of experienced trainers in the recovery community. And that's this blend together of, we're helping people understand, hey, here's what people who have taken benzos long-term sometimes go through. And here's what they're experiencing, and here's how you can maybe help them. And that's what this course is about. It's a course that I am so passionate about. It's been my baby for so long, and I'm so pumped that it's out there and going. I also want to give a nod to, we've agreed as a team that this course going forward is going to be dedicated to Christy Huff MD, who recently passed away. And she was a big part of the development of this course and taught the pilot with me, along with Ginger Ross. So we just want to dedicate this course to her. So we're in that process right now of doing that, but I just wanted to throw that out there, that this course is going to be dedicated to Dr. Christy Huff, who of course was medical director over at Benzodiazepine Information Coalition, or BIC. The focus of this course is to educate peers, counselors, caregivers, and providers on specialized information regarding benzodiazepine use, its associated complications such as withdrawal and bind, which is benzodiazepine-induced neurological dysfunction, and how to support the individual as they taper, heal, and find wellness. That's the little paragraph we put out there. It's a great course. It's a 12-hour course. It's interactive. We have a lot of discussion groups. And it's just a really good place, I think, to learn how to help others who are going through this. Upcoming classes, there's a national class that I'm teaching on May 16th and May 23th, just a couple weeks. Registration is now open for that. It's only $90 to sign up for this class. Classes like this are usually $150, $200 for a 12-hour course like this. It's only $90. And these are certified in the states where we've gotten certification. They're certified in the state of Colorado right now and working to try to get certifications in other states so that it feeds into your professional training if that's where you want to take this. But that national class on May 16th and 23rd, it's a 2-day course. I'll be teaching along with Eric will be teaching from Choices Training, and the two of us will be teaching that one together. It is a national class, meaning it's open to everyone. So if you want to take that course, please go sign up. We would love to have you. We just taught a course in April that was full and went wonderfully. Barbara Connolly was one of the teachers on that from Benzo Warrior, did a great job. We've had so many people. Terry Schreiber's been teaching a lot of these courses. We've had Lisa Gemmel, also from Benzo Warrior, been teaching some of these classes. We had some amazing people that are coming in to teach these who really understand because of the work they've been doing and their lived experiences. But we also have a class coming up in Florida, a 3-day class, May 21st, May 20th, 21st, 22nd. Another Colorado class, April 23rd and 30. That one just filled. Sorry, that's the one that just filled and we just had. Another Colorado coming up June 5th and 12th. See, I told you I'd make mistakes. And a Louisiana class, which I'm also teaching that one too. A 3-day course, June 25th, 26th, and 27th. The best place to go to get information is simple. benzopeertraining.org. So URL set up a little while ago. It says benzopeertraining.org. Go to that. You can learn about these courses. You can register, and you can also sign up for our mailing list to be notified when new classes are available. So please, if you're at all interested, go check that out. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, that's it about Benzo Peer Training. Exciting stuff. I love it. What else is going on? Research. We're still working diligently. Our benzodiazepine research team that's sponsored by the Alliance that I've been a member of for, it seems like, ever now. We're the ones that did the studies and created the bind nosology and all that kind of stuff came out of that group. Working on 2 studies right now. One is a systematic review of the literature, which is mind-blowing. I just went back and looked at the numbers today. I better start slowing down. I am just talking fast. Can you tell I got excited? I got excited when I talked about the benzo peer training, as I do. There we go. I just did this on the other podcast on Uneven. Open it up, not intentionally, just ad-libbed. It's a deep breathing exercise getting into it, and I just forgot how good that feels to take a deep breath in and let it out, and audibly. It feels good. Slowing down. Anyway, I just reviewed some of the numbers on that study that we've been doing now for 2.5 months or 3 months, and I myself have already reviewed almost 3,000 abstracts from studies. We reviewed over 11,000 as a team. Then we came down to, I reviewed another 70 full texts, and now we're into extracting data, and I've done like 7 or 8 of those, and I'm trying to get 10 to 15 of those done, which is actually reviewing the entire literature, highlighting and pulling the data out and putting the data separately so we know what data we can use for our paper. It is a long process. It's arduous, but you know what? It's really been enlightening for me, and this is why I wanted to mention the research. We're also working on a prescriber survey, just so you know, too, but that one's kind of stalled temporarily, but we're going to continue moving that one in a little bit. But on this review, I'm reading studies that I never would have read or known about if I hadn't done this research. And it really is educating me and helping me understand what's been done on benzodiazepines and where the limitations have been. And I think the limitation we see most often is how long they monitor somebody coming off benzodiazepines. Number one, most studies only look for side effects during use, which doesn't do us a lot of good, as most of us know. But they don't look at the long-term complications. And the ones that do look past, they look for a week or 2 or 30 days or 3 months tops. They'll follow the patients afterwards. For somebody like myself who still has symptoms almost 10 years out, that doesn't help me much. And it doesn't add to the literature about this whole bind issue, this protracted withdrawal issue. And that's part of the reason why a lot of doctors don't even know about it. We need to find a way to get more long-term studies, but those are really hard to do. Almost no group will do a study that takes that long. The pharmaceutical companies sure won't, and they're the ones that pay for most studies. No company's going to wait 2, 5, or 10 years to get the results from a study before they release a drug. It's just not going to happen. It's part of the system that's a little broken in my mind, but that's how it is. And unfortunately, once it's released, the pharmaceutical company has no interest in doing any study. They've gotten through the FDA, through the barricade to get it released. So why would they want to go back and do a study that might show that their drug is causing serious problems for thousands of people? They wouldn't want to do that. And so we're left with individual groups and charities and sometimes colleges and universities doing research with little funding and often not that far down the line. So we don't see these long-term effects. And I just wanted to mention that to you. But we are doing this systematic review and finding out what the literature says about bind-like symptoms. And it's been interesting. And I've learned a lot about what some studies have said, what some haven't. And it's been enlightening. And I'm glad to have been doing that. I wanted to also talk on that note, which is about just kind of knowledge. I've been getting a well-rounded education. I'm not tooting my horn here, although I guess I am. I'm just trying to say, I want to mention this part because then I want to talk about where we go for support. I've had my own experience over almost 10 years now. It's still going on. I was 12 years on Klonopin, came off it over 18 months, and I'm now almost 10 years protracted with bind. So from that aspect, I get what this is like. I've also worked with several hundred of you through the podcast, hearing your stories, talking with you, learning from you, what you're experiencing, all the different symptoms. And boy, that really, over the last 6 years, has helped to educate me. I've also worked with several teams with doctors from all over the country and world on a variety of research projects, development trainings, CME trainings, CE trainings, all kinds of stuff, developing these programs to help educate people and to learn from the doctors about what their problems are, especially from these doctors who get it and have been trying to help raise awareness as we have. And of course, these reviews that I've done and all this research we did and developing the survey and all that work that went with that benzodiazepine survey and identifying bind and that nosology, which is a team that creates these medical terms and putting that out there. I've been through a lot lately and I did too much, as you can tell, and I got a little overwhelmed and I had to pull back, and I've done that now. But I'm not saying this to try to tell you that I'm an expert, because I'm not. I don't have a medical degree. I don't have any scientific research background outside of what I've done for the last few years. I don't really understand completely how these things work. Then again, I don't know who really does. But I've learned a few things, as have many other people I know in this community who I've been working with, who have been doing this for a long time. And this comes to a question that somebody brought to me. Actually, these questions have come to me a few times lately. And often they're asking about other people out there, coaches and support people, and do you trust this person, or is this person doing, or this person told me to do this. Does this make sense to you? Or this person said I should do this or not do this. Does this sound right? And it didn't always. I think most of the people in the benzo community who are providing information, videos, podcasts, support, coaching, whatever, are doing a good job and are trying to do the best they can. I really believe that. I really believe that. But I also think you as a patient need to be careful about where you get your information from. At Easing Anxiety here, I've made sure that our information and what we put out there is evidence-based, and I get the information both from the medical side of things and from the patient side of things. And I try to blend that together to create the best picture of what I think this experience is like for most people and how we can help those people the most. And all I'm saying is, if you're going to be coached by somebody, or if you're going to go to some site constantly for information, you might want to check into their background and make sure that they know what they're talking about. That's all. Just use your own common sense, just as we should have done with our doctors, as I should have done with my doctor. I should have asked about Klonopin day one. I should have looked it up, and I should have found out that it could cause physical dependence and really mess up my life. But I didn't. So all I'm saying is, be careful of where you get your information. I work with some very reliable organizations. The Alliance for Benzodiazepine Best Practices, top notch. Bernie Silvernail and his team over there, and Alexis Ritvo, psychiatrist, and everybody that works over there, amazing people. I work with them on multiple teams. They're all good friends of mine, and they are solid. Equally so, Benzodiazepine Information Coalition over at BIC. They do amazing work. JC, Nicole, the whole gang over there is just doing great stuff. And those are the two organizations I always fall back on because I know what their basis is. They all have boards that both have doctors and lived experience people with them, and they're careful about the information they put out. Benzo Warrior is another really good group. I started to work with the two gals there that are currently running it, and they are really solid and know what they're doing and really care. And I know there's plenty of other organizations. I've worked with many other people out there too. But those are three organizations that I just wanted to mention off the top. I work with them constantly, and I trust what they provide. And I think it's quid pro quo. I think they trust what I provide too. We all... And it's not that we've all drank the same Kool-Aid. I don't want to go there because we all have our own nuances and everything else. But it's that we all are careful about the information we provide. We're honest, we're straightforward, and we're trying to make sure we're not just jumping the gun on things, but instead are trying to look at the evidence and what the studies and what the actual information has said, both from lived experience case studies, which I hear all the time from people writing into the podcast, but also group studies that have been done in medical literature and blending that together and trying to find a good knowledge base. So all I'm asking you is, if you're worried about this, and for those who have written into me, fall back on some of these sites you know you can trust, okay? Anyway, that was that. So, what was I talking about again? Benzo brain, bing, 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 bing. Benzo brain, bing, 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 bing. Thank God I have some notes that can bring me back to this. Oh, so I'm going to close this out. I didn't want it to go too much because I want to keep this shorter. What are we at now? Oh, God, I'm at 33 minutes. I said I was going to keep it under 30. I didn't do that very well, but oh well. You know, I'm really glad to be here. I have to admit up front, again, this is me being totally honest and clean because I love this. I love being just me. I've been doing that on an even nonstop for the past 45 episodes, and it felt great. I can just be myself. I'm not worried about what other people think of me as much, and that has ruled my life most of my life. And I'm done with that. I mean, I'm not done. I know it's still part of me, and I'm still going to care what people think, but I finally decided if somebody's going to criticize what I do, they better criticize for me being me, and that's what I'm doing. So I got burned out. I'll admit it right up front. I got burned out on the benzo thing, and I had to pull back. My health wasn't doing well. My mental state wasn't doing well. I had to pull back for a while, and I've done that, and I've pulled back from things, and now I'm focusing on easing anxiety. And by branching off into uneven and the anxiety realm, along with the benzo realm, I get a little more flexibility and a little more space to work in. Maybe that's the right term, a little more space. I have 2 venues now, and whenever I feel like talking about that day, I can go record that podcast. I like that freedom, and I'm excited about what we're doing here, and I hope you'll join me for the journey. I really do. I hope you'll come along with us. It's been a rough road. The loss of Christy, damn it. The loss of Christy, see, this is me. This is me. Still hits me hard right there. That was it. That was not planned. That was not written. That was just me. I said the name and I froze. It hit me a lot harder than I thought it would. And I'm still dealing with that. And I combined that, the loss of my parents and all the other stuff I've been through the last 3.5 years. And that along with having symptoms coming back and my health not doing as well and not even sure what I'm doing with my life at this point, even though I've been spending the last 6 years in benzos. I got lost. Maybe that's the best term for it. I got lost. But I feel like I have a new direction. And that direction is this channel, these podcasts, and that's working with you. I'm back. I just needed a little time away. Anyway, I better close this out because what I thought was going to be under 30 minutes went over 30 minutes, and I think it's time for me to move on. So please write into me, comment on YouTube, comment on our blog posts on our website. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. And I want your questions and ideas for content because I'm an open book here. I'm ready to tackle things, and I'm ready to bring those up. We're also going to still bringing people back. I'm going to have more interviews on Benzo Free. I'm going to have some interviews over on Uneven. And I'm going to start talking to people. I don't want it to be all me, although it's been lately. I don't want it to always be all me. That's not good. That's not good at all. I can't believe anybody wants to listen to me talk, period, let alone listen to a podcast of me talking. But I am grateful. I am grateful for you. For those of you who find what I say and how I say it helpful, I'm grateful for you all. Thank you so much, because that still is what's getting me through the days. And I'm doing okay. I really am. I know I sound bad, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing better. And this outlet helps me get there. Don't forget to check us out at our website, easinganxiety.com, and our YouTube channel at easinganx, or on X at easinganx, and that's kind of weird to say that, X being Twitter. Those are our primary channels right now. I might get a little more social media. I'm thinking about that on different areas, but I'm very careful because I'm not a big social media person. So one step at a time, okay? One step at a time. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for hanging with me. I appreciate it. This is the beginning, the re-beginning of something good. I love you all. Talk to you soon. Hey, this is Dee. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out our podcast. I do need to remind everyone that this podcast is for informational purposes only and should never be considered medical, psychological, or professional health advice of any kind. You can read our full disclaimer on our website at easinganxiety.com/disclaimer. Also, if you or someone you know is dealing with significant mental health issues, please seek professional help. Resources can be found in our show notes and on our website at easinganxiety.com. Thanks again for stopping by, and remember, keep calm, taper slowly, and take care of yourself. I'll see you next time.